Since 1995, PlayStation has introduced players to iconic characters, challenging and fun games, and unique experiences. With each generation, we see the return of iconic franchises and the beginnings of others. Other times, a series dies unexpectedly and never returns. So when I thought about it, I wondered, what's the likelihood of these franchises coming back to the PlayStation 5? Some of these games are more recent than others, but haven't had much action in the past few years. I'll also be rating each on a scale of most likely return, called It Shall Live, there's a possibility of it returning, called In Limbo, and of course, don't expect to see it again because it's dead and buried. Let's begin, shall we? On the surface, the title of Fat Princess may sound odd and unusual, but it was a surprise hit on the PlayStation 3. It's a unique strategic take on Capture the Flag, where the Red versus the Blue Kingdom or team has to rescue their princess while the other fattens her up with cake to make her more difficult to move. What's even odder is that there was never a true sequel to this formula. Other games dived into other genres. Other than an expanded port for the PlayStation Portable, there's been Fat Princess Piece of Cake, a Match 3 free-to-play game on the PlayStation Portable and mobile devices. There's been Fat Princess Adventures, which is a dungeon crawler co-op game on the PlayStation 4. All of these so-called sequels feature elements of what made the original Fat Princess game stand out, but since the release of Adventures in 2015, the series has been long forgotten, and I highly doubt we'll see this cake-filled princess returning anytime soon. This princess is dead and buried. Buzz was a quiz-based interactive game show that covered various topics. Much like Singstar, it was a series that could be tailored to each region. Starting life on the PlayStation 2, up to 4 players used physical buzzers to answer questions. The series arrived on the PlayStation Portable and the PlayStation 3, where wireless buzzers and the ability to create questions online for use in-game was possible. The servers for the PlayStation 3 game, though, have been shut down since. In 2017, PlayStation introduced PlayLink for PlayStation 4, which used designated apps on mobile devices as controllers. One of the games introduced was called Knowledge is Power, with a similar premise and a charismatic host. What could have been a return for the Buzz series died a generation before, and with that said, Buzz is dead and buried. People just don't care about games like these anymore. Since its debut on the original PlayStation, WIPEOUT has been used as a staple as to what each PlayStation device is capable of. It's also appeared on every single PlayStation console and handheld device. Even though original series creators were closed in 2012, the PlayStation 4 eventually received WIPEOUT Omega Collection, which bundled WIPEOUT HD, its expansion, and 2048 along with VR capabilities. Plus, these days, there's a rumor that's pretty believable that WIPEOUT will make its debut on the PlayStation 5 alongside the PlayStation VR 2. WIPEOUT fans, I say it shall live. In North America, it was formerly known as Hot Shots Golf since its days on the PlayStation 1. Since then, Everybody's Golf has had an appearance on every PlayStation console and handheld with its latest entry on the PlayStation VR. Everybody's Golf on the PlayStation 4 was a bold change to the series, expanding into open, explorable courses and character creation, but took away memorable characters and special guest characters. With its easy approach for a more casual crowd, I can see Sony wanting to invest once again, at least an entry for the PSVR 2. Everybody's Golf is a difficult one though. The gaming landscape is ever changing and the series isn't as popular as other series, but has survived this long. Taking in consideration that it's been on every PlayStation platform, it shall live. Days Gone was a game with a promising premise and a beautiful environment, but its odd pacing of a long, drawn-out plot and playable sequences that were better off as cutscenes didn't help for a smooth experience. And an abundance of glitches and texture pop-ins that's better today, but still happens, damaged the game's reputation and potential to be something great in comparison to the successful run most PlayStation 4 games had. Though to be fair, the large freaker hordes was adrenaline-pumping action and the highlight of the game. In 2021, it was revealed that a pitch for Days Gone 2 was rejected by Sony, and Ben Studios has since announced that it's working on a brand new IP. Let's face it, if Days Gone was successful, a sequel would already be in development, and that's why this game is dead and buried. The Order 1886 was a graphical showstopper for the PlayStation 4. The detail of its environments and characters were incredible, but when actually playing the game, gameplay was basic and cutscenes, while performed nicely, take up majority of the game. The premise of an alternative steampunk London, with vampires and werewolves hunted down by the Knights of the Round Table, was unique and intriguing, but too much of this lore bogged the story down. While the IP is owned by Sony, developers Ready at Dawn were purchased by Facebook and currently develop Oculus games. With no interest for a sequel, The Order 1886 is dead and buried. LittleBigPlanet introduced the concept of play, create, share, and Sony made it their mission to expand upon this concept. In comes MODNATION Racers, allowing players to easily create avatars, carts, and environments with ease. While fun to play, the AI, even on easy, was sometimes too difficult to race against. A Vita game called MODNATION Racers Road Trip was sort of a remixed version of MODNATION Racers, sharing its online creations with the PlayStation 3 version. Both have since had their online servers shut down, and while LITTLEBIGPLANET continued to thrive, MODNATION Racers sadly is dead and buried. You may wonder why LITTLEBIGPLANET is on this list. Well, after LITTLEBIGPLANET 3, I don't really see the series able to do much more to continue to evolve as a franchise, and it doesn't seem like Sony does either. There could have been opportunities to try to bring the series with new ways of play to PlayLink or VR, but it never happened. It's why we have the new spin-off series starring Sackboy, because he's a bankable, iconic character. With Sackboy a Big Adventure possibly being the start of a new sub-series of adventures, I say the LITTLEBIGPLANET as a series is dead and buried. Medieval is a series that really hasn't had much in terms of games, but has a decent fan following. There have been 2 original games on the original PlayStation in 2 different time periods, each with its own challenging gameplay. It's had not 1, but 2 remakes, one on the PlayStation Portable and most recently on the PlayStation 4. This recent remake could be a one-off, or maybe we'll see a remake of the second game. Perhaps it's the start of a new series of games, but the remake didn't change anything gameplay-wise for a modern audience, and possibly eliminate potential newcomers. It's why I say this game is in limbo. I think it's too early to tell if Medieval has died again. Syphon Filter is dead and buried. It's that simple. A trilogy of games released on the PlayStation 1, an appearance on the PlayStation 2, and finishing off with 2 games on the PSP, the series ended with a cliffhanger as main protagonist Gabe Logan is shot 4 times with his fate left in the air. Sony missed an opportunity to make a new Syphon Filter on the PlayStation Vita, but the series did get a nod in Days Gone by series creator Ben Studios. Rest in peace, Gabe. Uncharted is on this list because it's currently in a spot where it could be finished or more could be made. There have been reports of Sony creating a special studio to develop Uncharted games, and there have been reports that Sony is having the first game remade from the ground up, which I hope not. Nathan Drake's story is done. Naughty Dog is finished with the franchise, and Uncharted The Lost Legacy received the torch for more adventures with Chloe and Nadine. It is possible for Sony to have another studio develop an Uncharted game with Naughty Dog's guidance. It happened with Uncharted Golden Abyss. I'm hoping for a continuation with Chloe and Nadine, and with the Uncharted film starring Tom Holland coming soon, the series still lingers, which is why I say Uncharted, the video games that is in limbo. I love Gravity Rush on the PlayStation Vita. Introducing gravity-defying abilities that allowed you to fly through the air and walk on any surface was a breath of fresh air in comparison to the endless shooters we always see. The world and characters of Gravity Rush were fun and memorable, and its sequel on the PlayStation 4 was surprising but welcoming. Online servers were shut down for Gravity Rush 2 over a year after its release, but the story was basically concluded. It's a shame. The sequel fixed and improved on everything from the first game, but Gravity Rush is dead and buried. I remember the hype for the first Infamous game on the PlayStation 3 very well. The choice to be either good or bad, hero or villain attracted a lot of attention. My love for the series began with the much improved sequel and eventually the third, graphically stunning PlayStation 4 game Infamous Second Son. Since then, a smaller prequel to Second Son called First Light was released shortly after, and Sucker Punch has since been working on Ghost of Tsushima, with a sequel to that game likely being developed currently. I don't think Infamous is dead though. I think we could see another title in the series with the power of the PlayStation 5 at its helm. I say Infamous is in limbo. Ape Escape is dead and buried. Let's face it, the last time we saw this series was as a first-person PlayStation 3 move game. What was once a pinnacle reason to own a DualShock on the PlayStation 1 hasn't had a main game since. Gaming has changed, and while I don't want to say Sony has gone down a more mature route per se, majority of its titles in comparison to the time Ape Escape and its sequels were released has changed. I don't see Sony bringing the series back anytime soon. Give us Sly 5. To bring back the series after the third game concluded with a fitting end was alright, but to end that sequel on a cliffhanger was cruel. The shift between platformers being popular on the PlayStation 2 to platformers being popular on the PlayStation 3 was huge. Most PS3 players didn't care and were more into gritty shooters. Plus, out of Ratchet, Jack, and Sly, the Sly series has always felt like it was at the bottom. While developers of the fourth game, Sanzaru Games, had been purchased by Facebook to make VR games, Sony owns the IP, and currently there's a rumor floating around that Sly could be making a comeback. One more game, Sony. Just one more. One more to finish the story and we're good. This is why Sly Cooper is in limbo. Jak and Daxter had a wild ride. What started off as a light-hearted adventure found itself changing due to the popular influence of Grand Theft Auto, but still managed to work, and the trilogy ended on a satisfying note. The series would go on with a racing title and a fourth game, but wasn't officially a fourth number game. That displeased fans. Naughty Dog hasn't forgotten about the series, even playing around with the idea of rebooting the series with a more realistic tone before working on The Last of Us, but maybe it's best to let the series remain as concluded as it is. Unlike Ratchet & Clank, Jak and Daxter is dead and buried. Singstar's debut on the PlayStation 2 brought friends and family members together in a melody of broken notes and memories. The series evolved onto the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 with a focus on digital song downloads and a community of performers using the PlayStation camera. In January 2020, the online servers and the store for purchasing DLC were shut down. With that action taken, I don't see Sony wanting to license music or focus on such casual game when karaoke games aren't as big as they used to be. Like a fallen legend, Singstar is dead and buried. Insomniac Games have stated that as of Resistance 3, they are done with the franchise. The last entry to be seen was Resistance Burning Skies, which followed a new character flying off the Chimera on the PlayStation Vita. Seeing as Resistance 3 finished off the trilogy, it's most likely best for the series to be finished. There's only so much story that can come out of an invasion like this. For instance, take Gears of War on Xbox. The trilogy concluded, but milking the franchise, it returned with the fourth game as the start of a new trilogy, but has since fumbled in execution of a fourth and fifth game. What I'm saying is that some things need to end and stay finished. If Resistance Burning Skies showed us anything, it's that the series doesn't have much traction and doesn't offer anything new. With little interest for Resurrection, Resistance is dead and buried. Considered the first true rhythm game, PARAPPA the Rapper got its start in 1997 on the original PlayStation. A spin-off called Jemmer Lammy was released in 1999, with a direct sequel called PARAPPA the Rapper 2 on the PlayStation 2 in 2001. PARAPPA the Rapper has always been more popular in Japan, where a load of merchandise and an animated television series in 2001 to 2002 and 2016 was made. The last we saw of PARAPPA was a stunning 20th anniversary remaster on the PlayStation 4 in 2017. But with a lot of younger players turning to battle royales, PARAPPA may be seen as a joke or as a kid's game with its graphics. The wackiness of the series made it stand out, but 20 plus years later, and I say PARAPPA the Rapper is dead and buried. Twisted Metal has had a long, complicated history since it first appeared on the PlayStation 1. It's had many comebacks over the years with gritty and more lighter takes on the series. Last appearing on the PlayStation 3, it didn't quite make the hype as it formerly did, and online servers have since been shut down. With the television series in development and rumor of a new game coming out in 2023, I can see Twisted Metal making an appearance in glorious 4K on the PlayStation 5. The series has been long overdue for a great title, and fingers crossed that today's microtransactions don't ruin the experience. It's time for Twisted Metal to return. It shall live. Motorstorm was one of those early PlayStation 3 titles that showcased the console's power at the time. In reality, it was a series that only lasted the duration of the PlayStation 3 in general, with 3 main PS3 games, a game for the PSP and PS2, and a cross-platform game for the PlayStation 3 and Vita. Series developer Evolution Studios would go on to develop Drive Club in 2014 for the PlayStation 4, which didn't quite hit the mark, and they were closed down in 2016. If Motorstorm looked impressive on the PlayStation 3 at the time, just imagine how impressive a reboot would look on the PlayStation 5. Wishful thinking, but Motorstorm is dead and buried. Killzone was always said to be the PlayStation's answer to Halo, but that's up for discussion. From its start on the PlayStation 2, the series has seen sequels and spin-offs on the PSP, Vita, and PlayStation 3, along with the fourth main entry as the launch title for the PlayStation 4. Since then, series developer Guerrilla Games has found bigger success with Horizon Zero Dawn, and a sequel called Horizon Forbidden West is coming early 2022. Guerrilla Games have basically stated that Killzone hasn't been forgotten, but when or if the series will return is a mystery. It's why I say Killzone is in limbo. Let's face it, a lot of PlayStation's franchises are either dead and buried or in limbo. Like anything else, if it's popular, you'll see more sequels, and if it isn't, it's likely dead. Like any film or television show, we invest our time and emotions into these franchises, assuming that they'll possibly go on forever. Little do we know that in an instant it can all stop. At the end of the day, it's all about money because it has to be. These forms of entertainment are businesses. Without profit, why waste money on continuing a franchise? But from a possible story point of view, it's horrible to be left on a cliffhanger like in Days Gone, Syphon Filter, or Sly Cooper. Let me know what PlayStation series you'd like to see make its rightful return in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.